Hey everyone, welcome back to Prairie Grown Reviews. We review books, games, movies, and TV shows. Today, we're back for episode 6 of What If Thor was an only child? So, like last week, we're going to just do the spoiler thing and not do your thing.
Man, thanks, Seb. I was gonna seamlessly
Introduce it.
flow in, being like, anyways, before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please subscribe if you're interested in our content and you want to stay up to date with us. Ring that notification bell. Hit like if you want to. We want some more views and stuff, help us with the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in listening to us, we do have a podcast available on all like podcast platforms that you can think of. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find them, you'll find us. And if you want written stuff, go to our website, www.prairiegrownreviews.com. So without further ado, let's get back into it.
So, yes, like last week, we're just going to eliminate the non-spoiler thing. I'm only bringing it up because it's the second time. Next week, you'll get no warning. Well, you'll get a spoiler warning, but you're not going to have this explanation again. It'll just be, we're starting with spoilers now. But just because it's the second episode we're doing this, we're just going right into spoilers because the non-spoiler part doesn't really matter for a show like this, where it's just what happened. That's the only thing that matters.
Yep.
So, good thing number one, they got the big boy back. Chris Hemsworth is the only one of the main MCU trio to return to play between Thor, Cap, and Iron Man. And I respect it. It's good to hear his voice. He is very funny, like as you've seen in the more recent Marvel movies. As he's continued to be Thor, they've let him be funnier and funnier. So, he's quite humorous here. I like the setup, just the idea that, what if Odin never took Loki? What would happen? Thor would remain a gigantic douche. That's what would happen.
That's exactly.
He's a Chad. He's a Chad.
He's a Chad. He's almost a Brad, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, he's almost a Brad. Yeah, no. And obviously, just something I noticed. Odin never put any worthiness on Mjolnir in this version. This version of Thor, hella not worthy. But he only did that when he banished him. So there's no worthiness on this. So he can just wield. Anyone can pick it up if they're strong enough.
I'm gonna be honest, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but when he was fighting Captain Marvel, there was a little part of me that thought that we were gonna see sort of a Cap and Endgame type of moment.
Where she grabbed the hammer.
I thought she was gonna grab it too.
And then you
I thought she was gonna grab it too.
A bunch of people freaking out on Instagram because nobody has a clue about how the whole worthiness thing doesn't exist. But
yeah, no, it doesn't exist here. She would have just been able to pick it up because she's one of the strongest beings in the MCU. That was a good surprise. I didn't expect her presence in this. I didn't actually know. This was one of the episodes I knew the least about. I knew Thor was going to come party on Earth and cause problems, and that's what he did. He got real drunk in Vegas. We got to see Grandmaster.
Yep.
There's a lot of good references in this episode. They threw back everyone. Korg's back.
Yeah.
Korg's back.
Did he have a speaking line though? Did he?
No. He had one speaking line when he knocked Nick Fury back.
Yeah. Oh, he's like sorry or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Cannonball.
Yep. That was it.
That's unfortunate. I wish there was more.
Yeah.
There were so many references, but there wasn't much Korg.
There wasn't. There's a ton of little, but they were almost more like visual references. You know what I mean?
They were like Easter eggs, right? Like they
Easter eggs,
just sort of thrown in there, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of substance to them, which is okay. It's not really necessary in this episode at all.
That is a good point for the episode, though, as a whole. This episode it's got a story, but it's a very loose story. Like, it's very, Thor's causing problems on Earth. S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to nuke him. Send in Captain Marvel. Those are big plot. And then Frigga comes down and yells at him.
Well,
those are your big plot points. I enjoyed this episode, but it's just a fun time. It's not like it's a story-based thing.
Oh, to me, I just felt like this episode took like a whole 180 from all the stuff we used to have before. Like the other ones used to be like super, super dark. All of a sudden, like everything is pretty nice and cheerful. Like Thor's partying. Like, I don't know. To me, I feel like if Loki didn't exist, I feel like there would have been more fighting or something. I don't know. Not just Thor just hanging loose the whole time. I feel like there should have been, conflict somewhere, not just a teenage guy going party in another planet, get stopped by mother type of thing. That's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought there was
I
gonna be more coming out of that.
I do agree. It feels a little bit off-brand and definitely a little bit loose. Looks like it almost feels like they're grasping for things here. But the other thing that I would like to see is a little bit more conflict between Loki and Thor.
That's
Because
they were too much of a bro, right?
in
Like,
my mind, in my
They're
mind,
bros.
there's no way they should get along
no, there shouldn't be.
because
Like
the
Odin
Frost
took
Giants
over, right? They
do not get along with Asgard at
No.
all.
yeah. So like,
So,
there's
so
no
in
reason
my
for
mind, that should have been a really heavy point of conflict,
see
and that
when
would
I
have
when I
made
saw
this
that,
episode
I thought they were gonna
awesome.
fight. I thought they were
Instead, they
fighting. Like it
dapped
was a
up,
war or
and
something.
then
Like some
They
yeah,
did.
they just, like
Welcome to the party, bro.
my brother
and
from
Loki was
another
like, "Oh,
mother.
brother from another, yeah."
And like
Uh,
that callback is hilarious. Like that's a really funny way of doing that, right?
yeah.
But that conflict would have hit so much better in my mind. So much more
But I
entertaining.
don't think that was the point of this episode.
No,
I think
not at all.
we've had 3 episodes since the Avengers All Die episode. It's been sadness, death, destruction, end of the worlds. So like, yeah, I know that was uncalled for, bad name, but yes, where they all killed the Avengers, Hank Pym, the asshole. Yeah, but no, this one was meant to be just, oh, we've hurt your feelings for multiple episodes. Now have a good time. Thor's a drunk party dude. He like drinks mead and he gets tattoos, and but then the ending's like, oh yeah, we're still in What If, because just skipping ahead. Yeah, Ultron's got all the Infinity Stones and he got the Vision body.
That's who that was. Okay, I was
Yep.
thinking like that's not Vision, right? I'm like it looked like Vision. I'm like that's not
No,
him.
that's Ultron.
He wouldn't go evil and get the Infinity Stones like that, right? So
Yep.
No,
Yeah, I thought
but
that was a good way to close it, to be quite honest with you.
and I think that's the bridge. I think that's the bridge.
Yeah, see, that's the issue I have with all of these, right? Is like we see these endings, and it's like, does that matter? Are we coming back to that? Are we not coming back to it? Is it going to be a year before we see the continuation of that story in season 2? Like,
That's true.
what's the roll of the dice here, right? Whereas with like pretty much every other Marvel media we have, it's like, okay, I know sort of, at least I have an idea of what is coming. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. Unpredictability in this is not necessarily a bad thing. I think Marvel gets a little bit of a bad rep for that sometimes. So that's not necessarily the worst thing.
No.
Right? So I don't mind it. I can roll with that.
I have heard rumors that the next 2 episodes are going to be about what they call the Guardians of the Multiverse, which is going to be all our heroes, even like our anti-heroes, like Strange Supreme from episode 4, who did a bad thing, but like all of them teaming up to stop this version of Ultron potentially. I don't know. Maybe that's pushed to season 2. That's just a rumor. I don't know. It all depends on what next. There's 2 more episodes. Depends on, or no, 3. 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, this was 6. So
Seven
it all
did eat
depends.
9.
Yes. 7 did eat 9. But it all just depends. I think next week's episode will definitely set up 8, 9 even more. We'll see. I don't know what next week is. I
sure
think
hope
next
so.
week's most likely will be if Gamora took over Thanos' job, because that's one of the ones that they've
Confirmed
shown
those.
in the posters a lot. So
Yep.
yeah, I could see it being that. But I guess we'll just see.
Interesting. I think it would be really awesome to give this show, like, because like we've sort of just flirted with the idea of not having any like bigger purpose, which is great. But I do love being able to sit here and give predictions on things. Whereas right now, I have less than no idea what's coming next week.
that's very
Less
true.
than no idea, right? So it would be nice to like wrap this up with like a little bit of like a bundle episode. Give us at least something to like make. Like we're wrong all the time, so it's really nice to be wrong. Right now, we can't even.
We can't do anything.
I couldn't even. It'd be worse than like throwing darts at a wall. I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, that's what we used to do, because if you remember, we basically guessed for 4 weeks that WandaVision, the bubble, the hex would break, and it didn't break till the last episode, but we guessed for weeks and weeks that it would happen in the next episode. So we're not good at this prediction thing, but yeah, it'd be nice to actually have the chance to predict something.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, we have a crap ton of like the not so good theories either. I know I spouted a few that made like absolutely no sense, and then the core of my mind was like, oh, maybe it'll work out. The randomness thing, but like, I don't know. We can do more shots in the dark right now. We can be like, yeah, Killmonger is actually Ultron somehow, and I don't know.
I guess my
What if
bigger question.
Killmonger would have to pair up with this team? So is he like again an anti-hero? Like
I don't know.
they end all these stories open-ended. So like what, you're just gonna pluck them out to save the multiverse or what?
Do you think they come back? Do you think all of our episodes come back together at the end of before the end of the season? I'm throwing
I
a
think
prediction
some of
question out
them
there.
do.
Do you think
Some.
we see? Do you think we see Agent
I think
Carter
we see all
again?
these characters again. They've shown the shots in the trailer where they do the Avengers Circle thing. So like,
Right.
so
that's gotta happen.
I gotta assume it happens this season. Otherwise, people are going to give the middle finger to Marvel for keeping it for another season. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't
gotta
put it
do-
past them. You know, it's
no, I wouldn't. But there's also a shot of Party Thor with Strange Supreme in the trailer.
interesting.
So like,
Yeah.
but back to this episode, as we're not giving this episode much. There's not much to
I mean,
talk,
what
which is
do you
fair.
want to
But,
say?
Party Thor does still learn the lesson of responsibility, which is the whole purpose of what Thor's supposed to do as a character. He just learns it because he's told on, like a little 5-year-old. But it's okay because Chris Hemsworth makes it all funny.
Yep. That is what this episode is, really.
Even with Captain Marvel teaming up with it, it's a comedy sketch. Like this, it was fun. It wasn't my favorite episode by any means, but I did still enjoy it. It was a nice breather from the past, like especially like the zombies episode.
Man, I really like that one though. I don't know. That's
No,
something
that was
fun about
probably
that
that was one
episode.
of my favorites, but
but it
like
was a lot.
it was just the ending, especially with Thanos the zombie, like just all hope's gone for that universe, and that kind of stuck. Same thing with the Doctor Strange episode and the one where the the Avengers are all murdered.
Yep.
brutally.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm gonna keep saying terrible names for that episode because it was just horrific. They blew up the Hulk, man. Blew up the Hulk.
I mean,
From
to
the
everyone to
inside.
see it, I'm just kidding. We do not want to see that.
Nope.
That
That'd
would
be gross. That'd be pretty
It's good.
gross.
Yeah.
That's the closest we'll ever get to the Thanos meme.
Yep.
That's the closest we'll ever get to Thanos.
Season 2, maybe.
Marvel fans. Season 2. Oh my gosh. Paul Rudd would be up for it too. You know it. An episode that's literally just 5 minutes. It's Ant-Man going up. Kerpoosh. Yeah. Or maybe Thanos' butt cheeks are just too strong and Ant-Man just dies.
This is a terrible
Blood trickles
conversation.
out of the ass.
Nothing to do with this episode. I think we should carry on.
The fact that the word butt cheeks just came out of your mouth means it's time for a TSN timeout and we're moving on.
Please don't demonetize us. I'm not saying anything explicit.
On that
I'm
note, we're
talking about
ending
Thanos
episode.
here,
Nope.
the purple
we
ball
can-
sack.
See,
Wait,
there
you
was
went from butt cheeks to ball sack?
there was a couple of other moments this episode that were just a little bit almost weird to me. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like
A party pooper joke that got a big laugh from everyone.
that was a little bit weird. And also like
I was like, this is a 14 rated show, and like party pooper is funny, but
not
they
really.
made the joke
Yeah.
twice.
But like not really. It was like the
Not
punchline of
that
like
fun.
half the episode.
Yeah,
It's
they
like-
make it twice.
It was like not great.
Like you make it once, that's fine. But
It
like
almost felt
when
lazy.
they came back around to it,
Yeah, kind of. It did.
It felt a little bit lazy. It felt like they could have done better than that. And then like the fight, like
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of awesome action in this show. I sort of feel like the fight scene between Thor and Captain Marvel, which in live action would be absolutely unbelievable,
I was like a bit lacking
was
this episode.
only
right?
like okay. Like
well,
we've
it's because
seen-
she said
there-
she wasn't using her full power.
no, not
in
that.
that-
Like,
in the
like
main fight.
animation wise, she was like,
Oh, that's
it was
true.
just really a lot of still frames in that.
it was
a lot of still
very.
frames,
That's
a lot of
true.
talking.
We've
it
seen
was just-
some really cool fight scenes this whole season, and it's been awesome. It's actually
Season.
probably been one of my favorite parts. I just thought it was
I'd
lacking
agree.
this week. Just a little bit lacking.
Yeah, this is probably down there. Like maybe I'd say my least favorite's probably the first week's episode, and then this is probably just above this. I just enjoyed this. I had a good time with this.
You put this above Captain Carter?
You said what?
You
Yeah,
Captain
Actually,
Carter's,
well, like,
Captain Carter's
okay,
your
my
bottom?
what?
my favorite episode is zombies. My second
Okay.
favorite's probably the everyone gets murdered, the Avengers and Hank Pym. The
Fair
third
enough.
one's probably the third one's T'Challa's Star-Lord. The fourth one is Doctor Strange.
Fair enough.
The
Yeah.
fifth one would be this, and yeah, sixth would be Captain Carter.
Really, I don't like as much as I like T'Challa and stuff. I didn't like that episode as much as compared to the other ones. Now that would be like
The Captain
bottom
Carter one was
two.
just so impressive.
Captain
to
Carter
me.
was so much better than this
I
to this
really
Party
episode.
Thor.
I really enjoyed
Party
it.
Thor.
Way better than Party Thor. This is definitely like, it's still a decent episode in terms of like TV as a whole, right? Like that's the issue with Marvels. Everything, the bar is like way up here. I know
Mhm.
y'all can't see that, but that's my point, right? So like the bar is way up here for all Marvel stuff. So like when we get an episode like this, it's still good TV. It's still a lot of fun to watch.
Like,
But in my mind,
know.
it still ranks number 6.
if it was a sitcom, then it'd be okay because that's like perfect
It's
format.
just like
But like
it's
this
so
is a
off
Marvel
vibe.
show,
It's so
Yeah,
off
it is
vibe.
very off vibe.
so I just couldn't focus that much this episode. I honestly like lost. Like I was like kind of bored. Not gonna lie. There's a good few
I would
moments to
agree
be
with
like
that.
purposely
enough.
looking like in the background to see if I find like Easter eggs to actually paying attention to the episode. So I think that says a lot. I don't know. The whole better than Captain Carter episode.
I don't know. Captain Carter was
we watched
really
that.
good.
That was the
It
only
was-
episode we watched together.
It
And
was
we were
so
all
funny
hyped.
too.
Okay, there's
It-
no way.
It
That
was
This one
hype.
was this one was pretty funny though. It's probably the funniest episode. in
That's
my
the thing.
hmm
Yes.
So I don't know.
It's
I don't
like a
know.
whole discussion
I
we
like
had.
the
Like if
humor.
it was
Maybe
it's
it's
like
just 'cause
funny
it's
and
in the
stuff, but it's
moment
not Marvel,
today.
right? It's like
Well, no,
but-
Marvel's very fun. Like this is all jokes you'd see in a Marvel movie.
yeah, but
Any
like
of these you'd see in an MCU
but
film.
okay, but in like a movie, it'd be balanced
But
out by
spread out.
other stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
this one
yeah,
was just
that's
just
the-
straight humor,
That's the thing.
and that's it. And it just felt kind of not Marvel anymore.
It felt
That's fair.
I wouldn't say I don't know if I'd say it didn't feel Marvel. I would say kind of the bigger issue I have with it instead of that, because I think it still fits like the Marvel brand as a whole.
Mhm.
Like the first 3 episodes of WandaVision are way more off brand than this is.
That's
Yes,
true.
It sort of
that's true.
feels off brand for this show specifically.
that's true.
I
Mhm.
think it fits within the MCU. I think it's fine. I think it rolls the dice a little bit on a couple things, but I think it's a fine episode. I just think sort of the picture we've been painting for 6 weeks
What
now
if?
is just like this is kind of coloring outside the lines a little bit, which is
Like,
not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not always a bad thing. It's just like we've
I
said
feel
with a
like-
couple movies, you come in with your tunnel vision on because of what it's called, right? And so
Mhm.
this is what you're expecting. We've said that with a couple movies lately. This is what you're expecting, and you don't quite get it. So you're a little bit like, that wasn't that great. It wasn't bad. This wasn't a bad episode. If you're looking for a funny episode, go for it. This one is entertaining. If you're looking for a plot, it's not great. Our characters are not bad, but the
Well,
plot's
they're
not
your
great.
classics. So
The plot is not. It's not a plot episode, and that is probably my biggest criticism. Is I would have liked more story. I want to see like not just this. Like even though he's just a part, you want to make Thor just a party guy, fine. But show other parties he's thrown. Like I would have liked to see some more, like where he almost blew up that asteroid or something. Like that would have been cool
he
to
did
see.
blow up the asteroid,
just-
didn't he?
Yeah, but not just hear about. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would have
it
liked to
was-
see some of that.
I would, you know what? That's a really good point. It's almost a little bit too focused.
Short almost. It's
Too
like yeah, it's
specific,
too
right?
like
But like,
focused
isn't it
on the
like
one
35
thing,
minutes? Isn't it like 35
Yeah, it is.
minutes?
Yeah.
But I thought it felt really short too. Like not
yeah, it
necessarily
did
short
feel
on
short.
time.
It felt like
just
it was 20 minutes.
short on things we do. Yeah, absolutely. Right? Maybe slow is a
Yeah,
better word to put it.
I'd agree with that point exactly.
Right? Maybe that's why it feels a little bit lackluster, just because it moved. Because everything else, like even the Captain Carter episode, we took 2 hours worth of like plot and we're like, right? Everything else has been like really quick and rolling, and we're doing this and we're doing that. We're going from here to here, right? So
Mhm.
I totally agree with that point, Sebastian. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. If I like my official ranking that we'll do at some point, maybe in the last video or
Yep.
whatever, could change. Like again, this is just the most recent episode, so usually that makes like this one definitely. Even when I was watching it, I'm like, okay, this is not as good as the past 3. But like for the most part, it's been the newest episodes become my favorite. The zombie one's still my favorite, just because it's pretty grim and dark. I
It-
like the I like the interactions between like characters. Like, oh, you got Kurt from Ant-Man, the Ant-Man movies,
Yep.
and you've got Spider-Man talking with Hope Van Dyne, and blah, blah, blah. So like
Absolutely.
those were all very like I like that about that episode. This one had some good interactions as well. Great
totally.
to see Grandmaster back with Jeff Goldblum voicing him for like the 3 lines he has, which is just I love Jeff
Doing the
Goldblum.
scooter things, those are great.
It was bizarre,
Scooter
but it was
thing.
funny.
That's his whole
Also,
character, though.
Darcy marries a duck.
Yes.
Howard the duck.
Howard the duck.
Not a duck. Howard the duck.
Howard the duck. Yes.
It's weird. So weird.
Yeah.
That was the other moment that I was going to talk about. That was just weird, like so bizarre.
They didn't even do anything with it either. They
I
just
don't
kinda
really
did it,
understand
and
why
then-
that happened.
I think it was
Yeah.
just to show, what happens in Vegas. Usually there's like a marriage, a hangover type situation.
What a great movie that
Guess
is.
so.
Yeah. Hey, no one lost a tooth, and no one left anyone on top of a roof, as far as we're aware.
Shucks.
Two check marks. 2 check marks.
Well, I got nothing else.
I
You've
got
got any
nothing else either.
I think I'm good
Mind-blowing
too, yeah.
revelations. Okay,
Ah,
just before
I-
we close it, I want you guys' official signed statements. Nat, do you think the final 3 episodes are going to be loosey goosey, or are they going to come together and sort of wrap the season up?
They're gonna wrap the season up.
And do you think it happens in 3 episodes, or do you think we have one more kind of loose on its own episode, and then 2, or even 2 loose, and then the last one is really cohesive?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think one more loose and then 2 to wrap up. Maybe I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah,
Seb,
2 wrap
I
up.
have the exact same thoughts as Nat. That's why I always go first.
that is
But,
true.
yeah, no, I have the same thoughts as Nat. I think at most I'd say they do 1 episode wrap up. I definitely think it's not going to be 3 episodes of wrap up. For sure, getting 1 loose, maybe 1 more. I don't know. There's also been an episode of World where Black Widow is like the only surviving Avenger. I think that might tie in with the Ultron thing though. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll tie, but I definitely think they wrap up the season. I sign that and send that off to the Prime Minister.
Perfect. I see. I feel like we're only gonna get 1 wrap up, but I hope we get 2.
Hmm.
Just the way we're going, I think we're probably only gonna get 1, but I really hope like a 2-part episode would be awesome. Just
Mhm.
fantastic, right? This animation style is so cool. I would
Yeah.
love it. But I guess wait and see.
Or at least like if they do 1 wrap up, like 1 40-minute wrap up instead of 30-minute. Like give us another 10 minutes or
Yeah,
45.
That's not gonna happen.
No,
I was
that's not
wishful
going to
thinking.
happen.
We've been asking for longer.
We couldn't even get that
episodes.
for WandaVision or Falcon the Winter
That's every-
Soldier was
Ethan,
long.
Every time we've asked for longer
been asking
episodes, we
Disney for
get- we
longer
get-
episodes
we
for
get
8
shorter
months.
episodes.
That
yeah.
is so true. That is so
Every-
true. First
I'm like,
first
we had
episode of
longer episodes.
Falcon. First episode, I was like, oh, it needs to be longer. The next 2 were like shorter.
Even with Mando, going all the way back to our first videos, but like the first episode of Mando was an hour and no other episode matched. The finale was actually shorter than the penultimate episode.
I know it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
We
If you
won't
want to see our
jump
thoughts
down.
on that episode, you
We
can go
won't
check out our
jump.
YouTube channel.
We won't jump down that rabbit hole because we could talk about Mando and Star Wars all day.
Yeah, you can see our
we
sketchy
already
setup
have.
that we started with.
that
um,
might be a topic on the podcast next week. So tune in Tuesday.
Oh, yes. Star Wars Vision. Yeah. So, yep. See ya. No, I'm joking. Thank you guys for watching this week's episode. Hope you guys check out more videos. See you guys next week from Prairie Grown Reviews.